Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of Builders Talk. So last week I spoke to you about the 5 phases of business growth and how I related them back to the progress stages of building. So the 5 stages are launch, which is the base stage, growth, which is the frame stage, secure, which is the enclosed stage, polishing, which is the fixing stage, and liberate, which is the final stage. So you can in effect graduate from each of these stages once you have achieved, I guess, from the launch stage, you've achieved a strong base or a foundation for your business. From the growth stage, once you've provided your business with an environment that is giving you consistent growth. And from the secure stage, once you have consistent security within your business. To graduate from the polishing stage, you basically are starting to make all the refinements necessary to, in effect, tidy up all the gaps that have developed within your business over the, I guess, previous phases of your business. And from the liberate stage, once you've gained the freedom from your business. Now, freedom can mean different things to different people. It may mean you want to just step back a bit. It may mean not picking up the tools ever again. It may mean selling your business, and it also may mean preparing it to hand it down to maybe your kids. Hi, MJ, how you going? So in order to reach the graduation levels, you'll need to ensure that you have the right framework set up in your business. So when you start your business and you're in the launch stage, you really just need to focus on getting in the work to start making money. I've spoken before about how typically builders start their businesses with no capital. They'll usually start their business after they've had enough of working for someone else and decide to leave and start out on their own. So getting in the work is the main priority in this launch phase. There's not a lot of benefit initially spending a lot of capital on things like developing logos, expensive websites, customizing site signage, and buying expensive cars to drive around in. I often see, I guess, builders when they start up, they get a new Hilux, they get an expensive trailer, they get it all signed, written. And yes, this does go towards building recognition of your brand, but it's not where you should be initially spending all that capital money. You need to be spending your money on setting up the things that make a difference to your client. So your client doesn't care about you. They don't care about your car. They care about them. And if you go back to episode 9, why clients pay you and what they don't care about, I did reveal in there where you, I guess, need to be able to uncover the value of what the client wants, be able to produce the outcome they desire, the home that they want, and therefore it's really important, I guess, to intentionally design your business for your clients, for your clients that you're looking to attract. So within the founding frameworks, oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. I've had this niggling throat thing going on for a while now. Went and saw a specialist last week, so I'm trying to get it sorted out. Within the founding frameworks, the main areas that you would concentrate in the launch stage in order to build a strong base would be to concentrate on capturing your ideal client, as well as learning techniques to convert your ideal client and get them to basically shake your hand. So initially, all you want to do is get clients and get them to sign a contract so you can make money. So within the construct framework, you also need to ensure that you have an understanding of all the paperwork required to ensure that you protect you and your business. So a lot of builders start out and they, obviously because they don't really know what they need, you know, a lot of the paperwork just gets thrown aside because they believe in maybe an old style of doing things as, you know, what I've said I'll do and the customer needs to trust me in doing that. But, you know, there's a lot of horror stories that you've heard about, you know, builders not getting paid, builders getting taken to court. So you need to make sure that you set up a base that's strong from the beginning, and, you know, that gives you the ability to concentrate on delivering what your client wants and what you have agreed to, because there's I guess the majority of the issues that builders do deal with, and especially in this launch phase, is assumptions being made by not only you, but also your client. So these assumptions can cause a lot of stress and sleepless nights and loss of profits. In this stage, you will more than likely only make ends meet and will not necessarily make too much in profits. So an advantage you can get, like I guess the advantage of setting up a strong base is that you will be able to build a business throughout that growth stage that will start to be more profitable for you. So understanding the basics of money and the money side of things will also enable you to keep a good eye on the right figures so that you can pivot if you need to protect your business and your projects from going through unexpected things. So knowing the numbers and what basic reports you can, I guess, keep an eye on can circumnavigate any major failures. So to graduate from this launch stage, you basically have to build a strong base and have become accustomed to capturing and converting clients to keep the cash flowing within your business. You have to have an understanding and would have put in place paperwork to protect yourself from assumptions, and will be able to read some key reports so you can manage your money. When you graduate to the second phase, which is growth, you're going to be getting a fair bit of traction and work is steadily coming in, and you more consistently, I guess it's more consistently coming in, and you're starting to see some of that cash stay in your bank account for a longer period of time. You'll start to see that you'll be getting work more regularly, but you'll also start to see that you'll be working longer hours. You'll be spending days on the tools, and you'll be spending nights quoting and ordering and dealing with client correspondence. So you start to realize you probably need a bit more work-life balance in this growth stage. You might bring in the reinforcements, as I call them, which usually comes in the form of your wife, your partner, or a girlfriend, because they start to see the pressure you're under and they try and be of some assistance to you. You start to analyze what you can actually handle as you start to see, I guess, cracks and, issues cropping up due to your inability to do everything and be everywhere. So the customers start complaining about timelines or the lack of communication. And if you sort of work through my founding frameworks, the founding frameworks that'll help you out and will move you through to the secure stage is, I guess, the conception founding framework, which is, I guess, working out how you're going to get a work-life balance and what capacity you are happy to deal with in your business. And you start to set some boundaries around the work you take on and what work you may walk away from. You may walk into the trap of thinking the work is flowing in and start to neglect capturing your new clients. So you need to get a better handle on how to successfully keep people coming in and keep them coming through your door. And you're getting better at converting more clients through your sales techniques that you, I guess, have learned along the way, and have the clients thinking you are reading their minds and you know exactly what they want. These are some of the systems and processes that I go through in my custom construct code program. So your business has been around for a while now, and you're starting to get a better understanding of the paperwork, and you also will have historical data that you can analyze to help you get clarity on how your business is growing. So you'll need to start getting help at this point. And as I suggest, I've discussed in episode 11, what supports you and your business, where I spoke about the types of support that you can get to help you. And episode 14, the roles within your business, where I discussed having an integrator or an implementer as such that, I guess, they can keep the business side of things in order for you, which allows you to concentrate on that delivery and fix up any delivery issues that have sort of popped up through this growth stage. And also in episode 15, finding your who's, which is where I discuss the types of who's, being people that can help you, help get you support in your business that is not necessarily the traditional way of getting help in your business. Because as we've moved on to the online environment, there's a lot more help available that builders aren't necessarily aware of that can help in small section of the business that you can just basically contract someone, like you contract a plumber, to do one specific thing within your business that'll take a little bit of pressure off you. So to graduate from the growth stage is, I guess, you needed to provide your business with an environment that is giving you consistent growth. The phase is probably the biggest phase. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in this next stage, which is the secure stage. So there's pretty much all the founding frameworks that's within my programs need to be worked on to secure, I guess, the business that you've started to build and that you're starting to see profit. So you want to really secure your business so that it keeps going and getting more profitable as you move on. So there is I guess the first stage is where you probably start questioning why this stage, you'd probably start questioning why you're doing this. Why do you have your own business? So many times I've asked myself, why? I always come back to that I can work when I want to, even though you really can't. But you can go and watch the kids at their athletics carnival. You can meet for breakfast to discuss your workday with your wife or your husband. And the biggest benefit of all is that you have the ability to make more money. So, for example, when my daughter came to me in 2019 asking if she could go to France with the school, and she needed to pay $5,000 by the end of the week, as this was the last year the school would be doing this trip, and they'd opened it up to the year 10 kids, which they hadn't previously. So I knew that I could confidently find the money to pay for this trip for her. But if I didn't have my own business and I was just working for someone else owning a weekly income, I wouldn't have been able to sort of, I guess, say yes to her because I wouldn't have been able to find that money to cover her. So in this secure stage, you need to start to confirm your goals. You need to be able to get the motivation to keep powering on through this stage, because this is a stage that probably makes or breaks some businesses. So you need to start refining your ideal clients as you start to realize not all clients are the same. You realize that you need to start placing boundaries around who you want to work with and the ways you want to work with them. And to secure your business into the future, you need to start captivating and cultivating your clients. So you need to start, putting on the jazz hands, and you need to start, nurturing those clients, because you basically want to capitalize on these types of clients because they cost you less to acquire, meaning you can bank the profit. So to ensure that your business is secure, you'll need to start developing more systems and processes, especially as you start moving towards the liberate phase. Working on your business will become more important rather than working in your business. And these systems and processes that you put into place in this phase will help enable you to spend the time your business deserves to become more secure. So to graduate from this phase and into the polishing phase, where you basically start to refine and plug in any gaps that were within your business. We all have these gaps that we can't seem to plug. I mean, I guess, do you ever ask yourself, why can't I get this bit to work? Or why can't I figure this out? So there's always this little niggling bits that you think, I just can't seem to get that right. Every time I try and get it right, something goes wrong. So, you start saying to yourself, I know I'm smart enough, but I just can't seem to get this bit to work. Why isn't it not functioning as effectively as I would like to? So you want to start looking at refining even more who you're working with. You probably have realized you do prefer to work with a certain type of client, or you prefer to build a certain type of home. You would have enough data to see any trends in relation to the homes that you build. Is there one type of home that you build that might be more profitable than others? We build a lot of sloping block houses. They might be more profitable than just doing a slab on ground, because we're not competing on those sloping block homes as much as we are on a slab on ground, because most of the builders are prepared to build a slab on ground, but there's not too many builders that are prepared to build on sloping blocks. So, we capture a market that, I guess, gives that client no other option than to pay the price that that we're asking for because they can't get a builder to do the work for them because they're just not prepared to, or those other builders are not, they know they lose money because they're not confident in pricing them because they've mostly only done slab on ground. So quality assurance will become more important in the polishing stage as you start to have more maintenance dramas with clients. If you usually at this stage have more homes on the ground. So you've over the, launching and growth stage and the secure stage, you've built a lot more houses. So I know my husband hates it when we get a big rain event and, he's just waiting for calls from clients to say they've got a roof leak. And it doesn't happen very often, but he still does get anxious about it. You'll get one of those 1 in 100-year storm events and your clients had their house for 5 years. They've never had a roof leak before, and all of a sudden they get a roof leak and, they give you a call and they're all like antsy about it. And you're like, well, has it happened before? No. Well, it's probably an insurance claim because it's a storm event that's more an insurance claim as opposed to a maintenance or warranty issue. So I guess at this point, you're trying to keep your clients happy. You might be spending more money at this phase to, you become, a bit more profitable in this stage, and you're not having to chase as many new clients, which chasing new clients obviously takes up more time and you lose money basically trying to chase extra clients. So, in any 1 year, I can add up to $250,000 or more to my turnover throughout additional work with the clients that I'm already building for because I've captivated and I've cultivated them through the building process, that they start to trust us more and start to see, yes, they've done what we've asked them to. They're still within my budget. I do have this additional money that I would like to spend, and I'm now confident that the builder's doing the right thing by me and they'll spend more money with you. And I know that builders hate variations, but if this allows me to deal with one less client each year, I will take that money over chasing new money from new clients. It will be important to start the process, if you haven't already done so, of defining roles within your business. So you might start to put in an organizational chart, and there are several different ways to set up your crew, and you need to work out the best way that works for your business. As you start to step back a bit from the business and work on it, you may have some resistance that you'll need to overcome and find methods to help motivate your crew that you work with. So graduating to the liberate stage will happen once you've successfully, plugged those gaps that we're talking about, and you basically put the polish on your business. As I said earlier, when you get to liberate phase, the reasons for you to liberate yourself from your business will be different from each person. So in this phase is where you really want to start building the assets that are required to give you the ability to be liberated from your business. You'll need to have a planning process that will give clarity to your crew, as well as a consistent and repeatable process. To liberate your processes, they'll need to be documented so that any person can pick up that process and complete it. So my husband gets frustrated with me as I've added so many more steps to what he thinks is his building schedule. So I constantly have to explain to him that this is so that anyone can basically pick up the work of someone else. If someone's off sick, someone can look at that building schedule and see where we're at and go, oh, okay, I really need to get the orders for XYZ done. And if I hadn't put those processes and put them into the building schedule, no one else in the office that isn't out on site can relate, those processes to when they should be doing that work. So I have to keep reminding him, it's not about you, it's about having the processes in place so that it can free you up and people clearly know what they need to do if that person isn't there. So you want to lay things out in a third grader type way so that it's foolproof and anyone can read those processes and understand it and do that job if you aren't there. And then it doesn't have to rely, if someone else isn't there, it doesn't have to rely back on you having to do that thing while that person's off on top of all the other things that you're trying to do. So this stage does require some mindset work. And you need to, I guess, learn, like my husband's having to, is to learn to let things go. And you need to accept that things might be done differently from what you're used to doing. For you to be liberated, you need to be okay with others doing the work. And if you take on the attitude an employee will have an efficiency of, say, 50 to 70% of what you may be able to achieve, you'll fare better in that way. So my husband always says, I just expect 50% efficiency of what I can do. What I can do in a day, someone might only be able to do that in half the amount, half the amount in one day. So you need to be aware of this, and you need to add in potentially additional man hours into your pricing to ensure that if that efficiency drops because you're not there doing the work or you're not there pushing those people forward, that you still are profitable throughout that stage. So I guess basically that's the 5 phases of within the custom construct code and how your business will move through those different phases. And you can work out which, you sort of, I guess, can work out which phase you're sitting in, and that'll give you the ability to go, okay, I'm in let's say probably most people are in the secure stage when they start looking for outside help. So they start looking around on the internet. They realize that their business isn't going as well as they thought, and they want to start getting someone to help them. So at the 3rd stage, the secure stage, you can look at that and go, okay, I've got all these things. I really need to start concentrating on this so that I can move to that polishing stage, which then I can move on to the liberate stage. So if you want to do an assessment to determine what phase you're in, you can direct message me through the Builders Talk Facebook page, and we can schedule a call to do this assessment together. But until then, keep powering your business, and see you next week.